judge whether it's, you don't know unless you're selling a specific amount exactly.
You just
See what I'm saying?
no,
So,
like spaghetti.
well, but you figure it for 2/3. You know what I'm saying? You add, you take a third. So if it's 30 cents, you charge 90. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's gonna be based on overhead is based on how many you sell, right, in a day, because your daily cost or your daily cost. So you can't add that into the plate of the food. It's like a separate thought process. I mean, at your daily cost.
I've often wondered about like you people, you food people. Like, how do they make money? I don't.
Well, it used to be easy, but well, it depends. I mean, if you've got enough customers coming through, you know what I mean. If
So you're
you
just
sell,
working on volume.
Yeah, well, kind of. Everybody is theoretically. I mean, your overhead costs are going to be based on. I mean, everybody is. It's just like you. If you're paying for your whole church and there's 2 customers in there. I mean, you know, and
you got to have more people,
and they're giving you $1,000 each a month.
More people,
it's not enough, right? You know what I mean?
Volume, volume.
So it's not really like you're per se going for volume per se, but at the same time, it is in fact that's what it is. It's volume.
Yeah, you gotta have butts and seats buying food.
You got to have people spending money for sure, 100%.
And you're saying that because of Biden, you lost money. That's what I hear you saying. What do you attribute it to?
Well, it hasn't come back since COVID.
You think it's COVID?
COVID, during the shutdown, we did great. But afterwards, like the summer after was a nightmare. I mean, we were busy.
Yeah.
In 2020, but it was the wrong customers, people that were just wiling out. You know what I mean?
COVID's
like
over.
They set me
Let's
free.
go crazy.
Right. So they're just wiling out.
You had a bunch of bar fights and everything.
Oh, a bunch. Yeah, I got punched in the chin for no reason. Just
I couldn't do that, man. I don't know how you do that.
That was horrible. It was horrible. And then the following year, they shut down 254 all summer. They had the whole thing completely tore up. So that was rough. And then 2022, it was like...
Then the economy started to tank.
Yeah, it started to kind of do okay, but it never really got where it was supposed to. And then this year is just... I've never seen the...
You just saw the effects of the first 3 years, and now it's just gotten...
It's just totally true. And I mean, you see it where Maple closed down the street.
It did.
Phases tried to open and they closed.
When I saw Maple Inn, is it still open or
it's closed.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's closed. The owner now is like, I think, making coquito or maybe some kind of beer or something. I mean, it's what he's doing over there. That's it, as far as I know.
So he still owns the building. He just doesn't.
Well, yeah. Well, the Frank that owned he died.
Okay.
But he had given that up to his son Brent a while ago because he got in all that trouble with he was the one that was like molesting his. Well, what was he doing? He was having his son have sex with his own mother,
bro,
and recording it. And it was all over the newspaper.
I didn't know nothing
that Frank was. Oh, yeah. It was in the newspaper. It was horrible. Like, it was, I'm reading it.
How old is his son when this is happening?
I'm not sure 100%. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of term, but I mean, I don't know 100%. I know that his son is the fire chief in Avon, I think. Or was the fire chief in Avon. And, his dad said something to the effect of, I still watch the tapes or something, like it turns me on to him or something, and it clicked. And he was like, oh, my God, this sick bastard. And he filed charges, and the whole thing got brought to light, and he went to prison, but he died since then. But
oh, my goodness. So,
oh, yeah, it was bad. It was horrible.
I don't know where I was during that whole thing. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
It was bad. It was rough. It's all over. It was all over the news. It was crazy.
So the son still owns that?
The son, somebody owns the building. I'm assuming it's the son. He's the one that's over there, but I don't know if his siblings are involved at all. I mean,
they put a lot of money in that building, and then all of a sudden it just turned off. It seemed like they did the parking lot, I guess.
Well, they didn't put any money into it.
Oh, that wasn't done?
No, what happened was
every time I see a car hanging over the edge now, like, it's like,
well,
like, that was like
what
not a good
happened
idea.
was the city came through, or the ODOT came through and put they put the turning lanes and stuff in there.
Yeah.
So they took some of their property. They took some of Hassan's at that Good Deal car dealership, and they took some of their property and then put it back. So when they made the road and put the turning lane, they readjusted how they did it, and that's what you seen whenever you saw the parking lot and stuff. That was them basically taking property from them, essentially. Because you used to be able to pull up right up front, if you remember.
I do remember.
And then they cut the road down and they had to raise it up. So that was all the ODOT, basically, that did all that work.
I thought they did that, yeah. Wow.
I mean, they fixed it up a while back, but that's been a long, long time ago now. They'd put that new siding and all that in. But, I mean... Yeah, so they closed down, and then, like I said, this Phases tried to open across the street, and they didn't last.
Phases.
Yeah, it was right across the street in the old Union Hall, right next to the Dairy Mart there. It tried to open, and it closed down.
Yeah.
Right there. Right there.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
And then my Uncle Dale's opened down the street, but he's struggling. He's not doing very well with it.
Where's that?
He's got the old McDonald's, which was Rosie's.
Okay, yeah.
So he's doing more breakfast now because nothing was doing anything. So he's just kind of, he was doing okay for breakfast, so he just started closing at 2 o'clock now. And he just does breakfast, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compete with McDonald's. Like, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, they're not that cheap either. I mean, you really think about how much it costs to go to McDonald's anymore.
I mean, I haven't been there, but...
I mean,
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. We're on.
Okay,
Absolutely. I just went right into the conversation.
I was guarding myself out
with it. Right when the music came out, we went live.
Are we hot? Because there's some things I'll tell you, but some things I won't.
But, I mean, McDonald's is like 99-cent McDoubles and stuff weren't that long ago. You know what I mean? 10 years ago.
Back in the day when I worked for the city, man, we'd always go to Rosie's.
To Rosie's?
Yeah. That was a main spot.
Right there? That one?
Yeah. Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of that one. I always was a George's fan myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my high school years. That was George's.
George's?
Yeah. I mean, nostalgia. I don't know if there's any. You know, in my mind, George's was the greatest restaurant. You know what I mean? In my mind, because as a kid.
Do you know what that was originally? That's a Perkins originally.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. That's originally.
I don't know that I've ever known it as a Perkins. I've only known it as a, something
I only know it was
that.
Perkins because I know people that work there in the dish room. Like I
was
think
it
maybe
before
my
it was?
dad did maybe.
It was something else before it was what it.
Before George's?
Yeah. What was it before that?
I assume Perkins. I didn't know. I don't know.
Wasn't it something else though? Wasn't it like?
Not that I know of. No, I don't remember it being anything else.
Man, I just remember like going in there when I was young. Going in there.
Yeah, I never went in there as a young man. Never. I don't think I went in there till I was probably like 24.
It was a pretty happening breakfast spot.
Yeah, still is.
Sure. You serve breakfast here?
No, I did for a while. I tried it for a little bit, but I wasn't getting as much business as I would have hoped for. Yeah. We weren't getting the business because people don't like going to breakfast at a bar. Okay. Essentially, you know what I mean? I think is the vibe. You know,
I mean, it eliminates a certain demographic of.
Yeah, if you had a separate dining area, like Dale has a separate dining area, so he's away from the bar. He does have a bar in there.
In what you down
in the old Rosie's?
Really?
Yeah, he did put a bar up front where the counter was up front. He put a bar in there.
No way.
But it doesn't do anything. So I mean, it's just basically people are there for breakfast, and the bar business just is not doing anything really. So. But he does have a little separate area where they can go eat breakfast. They're not in a bar. You know, they don't feel like they're in a bar.
Right.
People just don't. Like in vacation, you'll do that. Like you'll go to a bar, because in all your vacation spots, things are doubling, right? So they're like a bar at night and a breakfast spot in the daytime.
Okay,
like you know what I mean? So people do that. But in a local type place, it just didn't seem like it did enough with that. I don't know. We were losing $500 a week, essentially, when I did breakfast. But it was really good breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast food is the best.
I think it
You
could
just
have
serve it all day.
I think it could have took off. Well, the problem with serving it all day, the problem I had with it is that I use garlic butter in a lot of my food.
Okay. So you got
Yeah, so the grill, like, you can't have the garlic butter and cook breakfast on it. That's
can't
gross.
cook eggs with butter.
No, that's disgusting. Yeah, you don't do that. I don't think so, anyways. Maybe people would love it, but nah, I'm not doing it. No. So I would have to clean the grill at shift change, basically. When we went from breakfast to lunch, I would clean the grill.
You would cook the food?
No, I had a cook at that time. I would do some of it sometimes.
Really? Just back there flipping eggs and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, dude.
You still do that today?
I sometimes, on occasion.
Back there cooking burgers and stuff.
You didn't hear what happened last year?
No, bro. I don't know what happened.
The end of the summer in 23, I fired everybody
Oh, why'd you do that?
because I got fed up.
And so
I
you
was the
like,
only one cooking.
oh man,
I cooked, and it was. Oh yeah, got rid of everyone.
that's a bad gene to have, man. I got it. It's terrible. You know what I mean? That thing where like I'll just do it myself. You know, kind of
I had
thing.
to.
Like,
What happened was, so Sean was my cook forever, and Sean, I known Sean. Me and him work at Campbell's together. And when I got this place, he was the first person I got a hold of. That I wanted to run the kitchen. At the time, he was working for nursing homes. Like he was running their kitchens basically at the nursing homes. So he turned me down, and then he ended up calling me a few months later because he wasn't happy with traveling because he was going to Columbus. He was a district or regional guy, so he would have to travel too much. So he calls me and he wanted to do it. So he did it. He ran a kitchen, and he at first did a great job. Slowly, kind of like his big issue was he was drinking on a job, Yeah. But he did a good job. He worked the whole time he was there, but he was drinking. It was always, and when he drank, he did start to, not clean as good.
is it like drinking from your bar?
No, he would know. In fact, he would bring tall boys to make sure I knew it wasn't mine. Like they would be tall. He would make sure that I was nothing I had here, just to be certain.
So, but you were cool with that.
I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
No.
I would threaten him but he's a friend. I mean, but he, I never wanted to get rid of him. Well, I actually was thinking about getting rid of him as soon as I got back from vacation. I was leaving for vacation in 22, I think. I was heading to South Carolina to see my sister. Okay. And I was thinking about when I got back getting rid of him. Me and Guido had the whole conversation. I go, hey, he's just getting out of hand. He won't stop drinking. And then, I just have to bite the bullet and get rid of him. I just don't want to because he covers shifts. He does everything, He handles the kitchen 100%.
How are you going to fire him?
Right. I mean, yeah. So
Like you just fired? Like
what was I going to to it?
Yeah,
I hadn't gotten that far. I just told Guido. Guido's like, you're crazy,
Guido said no?
No, he just didn't think I would. Guido thought it should happen. He just didn't think I ever would do it. So
you would say Guido has good business sense?
Yeah, maybe. No, not so much. No. Guido would he would definitely bury himself alive to show he can handle the shovel. That's Guido 100%. But so I leave for vacation and I make it as far as North Carolina. Well, what happened was the day before I was leaving, we got a break in here. A guy named Larry Fisher. He's a local guy here. He was just
you told me about that.
Just in the paper recently. He stole a car or something and was in a high-speed chase with the police and got caught. But yeah, so he breaks in. And when he breaks in, it's the night before I'm leaving. I'm supposed to leave in the morning. So I'm here at the, the police are here, all this stuff's going on. And as I'm getting ready to go, I'm trying to, the girl back here tells me she's got, new locks that I could put on. I go, I don't need new locks. She goes, she's trying to give me these locks. They're residential locks. I go, I don't need locks. First of all, the guy didn't get through my commercial locks at all. He got through the glass door over there by spreading the mullion.
What's that?
Well, he spread it. He put a pry bar and spread it enough that the throw, which was at least 2.5 inches on that lock, on the glass door going out to the patio, he spread the door wide enough that he got through that door right there. and the door, I don't know how it spread open that wide. The only thing I could think is that when I opened up the door, because after he was done, I opened it up to see how that could have happened. And when it was installed with wood shims. And my guess is that the wood smashed, like he actually smashed enough of the shims out of the way. So I re-shimmed it with plastic and steel to make sure that that can't happen again.
In case you're getting any ideas out there.
Right, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It was
ideas.
wild. I couldn't believe that he even got it open. That's just crazy to me. So anyways.
And you'd be on video now, so.
Right. So I tell her, no, I do not want these locks.
Okay.
I tell her. I leave. I go home. I take a nap.
No. Oh, no.
We leave for vacation.
Oh, no.
I get to North Carolina, and my phone is blowing up. Sean quit. So he's the one running the kitchen, and he quit. He's done. He can't do it no more. He's tired of this bullshit. I change the locks and don't even give him a key. Which, for one, I'd never even ask you to change the lock. I called Guido, what the fuck? He goes, well, she gave me the locks and said you wanted them changed. I'm like, dude, I want the other locks. He goes, I already got rid of them. I don't even have the parts. I'm like, oh, fuck. So now I don't have my commercial locks. We have these other residential locks she gave him, and Guido puts them on because I just do whatever you want as soon as I walk out the door to go on vacation, I guess. So now I got nobody to run this kitchen while I'm in, and I get down and luckily everybody, the guys that were working here at the time, stepped up and took care of it the best they could, and I walked them through orders and stuff. I ended up having to stay a little extra because my brother-in-law actually went at that time. He had appointment to have a colonoscopy done, which he had canceled when my brother died. He was supposed to have it done then because he was having some issues. He was younger. He shouldn't have been, he's only 40 years old or whatever, 41 maybe, 39, 40. So he shouldn't have been getting one yet, but he was getting one done because he was having some issues. Well, it turned out he had cancer, and he had a huge blockage, and they needed to do emergency surgery. So I ended up having to stay down there a little longer with my sister and watch the kids while they got their stuff taken care of. So it was.
So by the time you get back.
So by the time I get back, I got no Sean.
You're just done.
Well, I'm not done. No, that's not it.
No, that's not where it fell off.
No, I kept trying to hold on. I kept letting everybody work. And all this stuff is just it's just constant problem after problem. And it's aggravating me, and I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Who's going to run this kitchen now? And I've got everybody. I've tried different ones. They're not working. One of them started proclaiming he was the kitchen manager, which I would never make him the kitchen manager. But he was proclaiming he was the kitchen manager. So everybody was taking him as he was the kitchen manager.
The king is dead. Yeah, somebody's got to fill the throne.
Yes. So this is all going on.
Oh, man.
And my mom comes
This is
up.
awesome, man. I feel like the bar culture is not far from the church culture, bro. There's a lot. I'm like, all these problems sound so familiar.
Well, I've said that often. Aren't they both the same thing?
They sound
just
very
a
familiar.
Social environment.
Yeah.
I mean, one based on religion, one based on drinking, but it's just a social gathering place, basically.
Yeah. It's a place of
social
fellowship. Yeah,
fellowship. There you go. That's a good.
It's a loose word, William.
Loose word, yeah. It's not really fellowship in a bar, but it's.
I mean,
it's a social.
It is, but it just produces. It doesn't produce the same product. The fellowship of the saints produces the product of Jesus. Yeah, that's what the Bible says. Wherever two of us come together, the presence of Christ is tangible. So, in faith, you produce the presence of the divine. Outside of faith, you produce the presence of problems.
Very little customers that aren't Christians.
Yeah.
Most are.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah. So outside of faith, I mean, I'm not suggesting that, but it just So, but I mean, faith.
They're not worshiping.
Well, but faith, faith has to manifest to produce the presence of Jesus. But I see what you're saying. But so the problems are very similar. This whole vacuum of leadership. Wherever there's a vacuum of leadership, chaos ensues. That's what I've learned. after
Yes.
doing this. Wherever there is a vacuum of leadership, if you don't fill that, like if you don't fill a spot, it will get filled.
And
Somebody
that's what
will
happened.
step in.
And that's exactly what happened. You're right.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So now what happens is I have people that are trying to run things their way and it's really getting bad.
I mean, it's a
there's
free-for-all,
things
right?
that are, it's a free for all.
Oh, God.
The one that's calling himself a manager is literally got the lights off in the kitchen all the time. And it's so he can see his phone, I think. I think he's just trying to see his phone, and he's watching. His wife owns a hair salon, and he's watching the cams and watching to see what she's doing at her hair salon, I think.
Man, forget about her, man. Make them sandwiches, bro.
I mean, this is the stuff that's going on, though. I mean, and I'm getting aggravated. Kitchen's getting dirty. It's bad. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest when Sean was here either. Anyway.
Are you patient? Do you consider yourself a patient person?
I try. I'm not that patient. No.
Yeah.
I give the illusion of patience, but it's building.
I feel you. I feel you
It's
when you
building.
say those words. I feel you when you say those words.
I'll pretend to be patient.
Best. I do my best to project patience, but inside I have lost
Oh,
it.
yeah, I've lost
I'm with
control.
You. I'm with you. I'm with you.
So my mom comes up, and it's in the summer, 23.
So mom comes up.
She's on the patio.
She's gonna help you.
No.
Oh, mom, I thought she was coming to make some eggs.
No, well, she has. My mom works still, though, so she can't just constantly come up. But she comes up, and we're on the patio, and she puts in an order. Hey, get out of here. She puts in an order, and the girl says, oh, we don't have that. I'm like, I know we have it. I'm positive we have it. I ordered it myself because I'm doing the orders at this point. And I get annoyed. My mom goes, oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because we're relaxing. My mom wants to just visit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She goes, I'll just take wings. He says, well, we don't have wings. Now, I know for a fact we have wings.
Yeah.
Now I mean, steam's coming out.
Yeah.
My mom can't even stop me if she wants to at this point.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
I walk back there, and I go, we don't have wings? He goes, well, there's none cooked off. I go, you've been here for how long? You ain't cooked none off? He said, nobody cooked off any in the daytime. I go, so your answer is just tell everybody there's no wings. There's just no, they just don't exist.
I can't imagine. Oh, my God.
And he says, well, what else you got? I go, well, do your job.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll walk. I go, you might as well, dude. You ain't doing nothing anyways. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So he leaves, send him on his way.
So when you say you got to pre-cook the wings?
I do. I bring in fresh wings.
Okay.
And then a wing takes about 13 to 15 minutes to cook off.
Okay.
So in order to speed up that process, I cook them for 9, and then we refrigerate them until the actual order gets done.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? That way
Yeah.
we can get them out in a reasonable time.
Right.
And that's the process for pretty much any restaurant
That's how they
doing
do
wings. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. So that's the way that.
Never knew that.
So, okay. So here goes. So that makes it worse. The orders could have took longer if you had to cook them for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But this guy was here for hours and hadn't done anything. And I had been fighting these guys. They're not doing anything. I'm fighting them.
They know better than you.
They had milk crates that they were sitting on. I threw every milk crate. You couldn't find a milk crate in this restaurant. I chucked every damn one of them out of here. Every one of them. I was pissed off. I got every one out of here. I threw them all out. And if I'd find one, I'd go find it and steal it and take it away and throw it away too. Because they would just sit on milk crates instead of working and doing what they're supposed to. Or cleaning or whatever else they're doing. So I fire them. I get rid of them. I get ready to start cooking. I go, all right, I guess I'm cooking. I go on it. Nothing's prepped. There's nothing done. There's nothing ready. There's no way you can cook on this line. I could not make one. I got 2 orders. I couldn't make either one of them because nothing was done. I go, that's it. Kitchen's closed. I closed the kitchen down and I gutted it. I prepped everything. I cleaned it. And I pissed everybody off in this restaurant, including Guido, including my wife, including some of the other. I mean, I lost it, dude. I chucked everything out the back door.
When you say you chucked everything, what do you mean you're chucking
anything that was not supposed to be in that kitchen was gone.
So like
out.
You're like,
and then I scrubbed that thing top to bottom because it was disgusting.
Okay.
I mean, I went through, scrubbed the whole thing top to bottom.
So you're making a statement now. You're just like, this is the way it should have been done.
I was there for that night. I was there about 5.5 hours, I think. And then from there out, I handled the kitchen myself.
Okay.
And as I did it, I scrubbed that kitchen top to bottom.
Were you training
every inch of
anybody
it.
at that point, or you're just handling your business?
I tried a couple, none were working out, but then Summer came along, and Summer's amazing.
Okay.
I mean, Summer that's down there right now, she cleans as good. I thought I had
Summer the
cleaned
person, not Summer the season.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. When I thought I had cleaned that kitchen as good as it could get. I mean,
Okay.
it was spotless, and she found everything else that I couldn't. I mean, she's anal.
So
when
she
it comes to
showed
that
up.
stuff.
So she showed up.
She was somebody that had worked for me in the past,
Okay.
and she had some issues back then. And I just didn't know if she kept asking and asking. Finally, at this point, I go, what do I have to lose? She was a good cook. So she comes back in, and I'm like, oh, my God, and everything. And she's gotten some things that she's had to work out and fix in her life in the process. But, man, she is amazing in that kitchen. I mean,
Yeah.
she
So
does
she's still
a hell of
doing
a
it?
job. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Summer took over. But it took me, I did that basically for about 4 months, I think.
So what we want to know is, if you ate food here between the months where Jim was cooking the food, was it any good? That's what
I
we need
cook
to know.
all the time. I still go do.
You still go down there?
Oh, I can run that kitchen.
You're still
just
down
fine.
there doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can. Not a lot, but I mean, if nobody shows up, I get in there. Same with the bar. If somebody doesn't show up, I can't get nobody to cover.
What would you think?
I will bartend. I will serve.
I always say this. I'm curious. Like, what's your, like, if you have an employee, what's the most important attribute for you to have to work for you, like for your employees? Like, what are you looking for in a good employee?
What do you look for in a
Yeah.
good employee?
Yeah, somebody that you're like, I could trust this person, and what are you looking for?
Honesty, I guess. That's
Honesty.
the most important thing.
Yeah.
Honesty covers all bases.
Yeah, I think that.
Honesty stops stealing. Being lazy is just stealing, in my opinion.
It is.
So
It is.
I mean, honesty is it. That's it. If you have a good, honest
So
person,
you think like honesty is a greater attribute than competence?
competence is wonderful, but it doesn't help. It's like it's different. Competence is different than intelligence.
Okay. All right.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I've had girls that work here that are very smart, and I know, I see them. That's the one you got to watch out for, because she can outsmart me. I can see it.
Well, that honesty part.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay, then I'm going to add you a third component here. So we just mentioned four things. We mentioned we mentioned honesty, competency, and you just said intelligence, and attitude. So those four, let's rate them. What's the most important? Because for me, it's attitude. I can teach competence. I can give you.
You can't teach honesty.
No, I can't. But if your attitude is right, you'll become, like, if you have a good attitude, like, you'll want to be honest. I feel like your attitude, like, I just can't. For some reason, I've discovered that certain people can't overcome what they went through, and they wear it every day. And it's just like they're just negative, or they're cynical, or they complain, or they're just angry. And it's like,
oh, I don't put up with it.
And you can't overcome any of that. Like, I don't care how good you are at your job. If you have a poor attitude, it's like, it doesn't matter how good you do it, because you're serving eggs with a terrible attitude. Like, here's some stupid eggs, or, you know what I mean? Like, you can't teach that. So, like, for me, I want people that have a great attitude. I mean, of course, I would never have anyone.
Attitude is everything. You have to have a great attitude, but I'd put it second to honesty. Only.
Yeah, I guess.
But that's because this business is about. There's so much money that gets exchanged hands wise. I mean, but
like you said, time is money.
And the incentive the incentive is there to give a good deal to your customer too.
Oh, because you get it. Yeah.
You know, like if you forget to ring in a couple beers, if you forget to ring a couple in.
How do you keep track of that? I always wondered about that. Like when I'm at a restaurant, I'm like,
tough.
How did they know that she didn't just give us our soft drinks for free?
It's tough.
And
it's real tough.
There's been times when they have, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, and sometimes it's an honest mistake. Sometimes. I mean, sometimes you can honestly forget.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been bartending back there, and I've honestly forgotten myself to ring something in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's in your benefit. I mean, if you don't ring in some beers, your tip's going to be a lot nicer, isn't it? You know?
I mean, yeah. You just got the cost of that beer in your pocket.
Right.
It's yours.
Pretty much.
Hopefully. I mean.
Yeah, they'll at least tip you that, you would think, right?
You would think.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that. I mean, my liquor is okay because liquor is poured through a system. I have a Berg system. Like it won't come out of the bottle unless it rings to a tap. It will not come out. Yeah, it won't. It will
You mean
not
there's
come
little thingies on the bottles that are attached to the machine that only lets it come out? Mm-hmm. No way.
Yeah, it will not come out unless
Man, that is some witchcraft. Wow.
It's just magnets. But it rings it in for the price and everything.
So it does it.
It like when you ring it, I have 7 tiers of pricing. So each bottle has rings on it. It's called the Berg system. There's metal rings on it, and then you have a thing you put over and you pour it. And so I don't lose on liquor, I mean, per se. The numbers are good on my liquor and beer. The fact of the matter is that I have that system because you watch your numbers. Same with food. You watch your numbers. So if I've got my food cost is, far more than what,
Have you raised your food cost over the last 4 years?
Oh, God, yes. Oh,
yeah?
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Do people complain?
Oh, every time.
Really?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, I would be so sympathetic to it. Like, yeah. I go into a restaurant now, and I'm like, I'm not even, I'm sympathetic to it. I'm like, man, it's got to be brutal.
It's horrific.
It's got to be tough.
But by comparison to what it was, and especially when the sales aren't there. The sales aren't what they were. Like the pure numbers of people coming in and going out to eat are just not what they were.
What do you attribute that to?
I think people just don't have the extra money. I mean, you're talking about gas is more, your utilities are more, your groceries are more, and your wages haven't moved.
That's true.
That's the key.
And we're being taxed. Like
yeah, and then they just raised all your property taxes. So everybody's house payment just went up. They say, taxes went up on average in Lorain County 40%. On average.
No wonder, man. No wonder.
So that means that everybody's house payment went up, what, 10%? 5 maybe, or 5 or 10?
Mine went up.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's payment just went up.
And then the schools want money. If you live in a place, the schools want some more money. And then, like, man, it's enough.
Yeah, it's got to stop.
Like, when is it going to, you think your boy's going to come in and, what do you think's going to happen?
I don't know if he can fix what he says he's going to fix. I think he can help. So? I mean, I don't think it's going to be immediate. I mean, I think he can put things in motion. But I don't know if you can just undo everything so fast. I don't know that that's the case. I don't know.
If it doesn't happen, like, don't you? I just feel like if something doesn't happen, something's gonna happen. It's kind of like that dude that got shot, the United Healthcare guy.
Yeah.
It's like if something doesn't happen, something's gonna happen. And I'm amazed at like the amount of the arrogance and I don't even know if it's naivety. It's just like evil disconcern about the average person and the pressure that they have to deal with every day. Like the average American citizen is just, like, it's just like the people that are supposed to be representing you are exploiting you to such a degree that you can't even take it anymore, and it's becoming explosive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that some of the expenses that are out there, like the grocery expenses, fuel expenses, I feel like they had to go up. I think that more of the problem is getting those wages up. I think the earnings have to start to come into play with that. That's my opinion of it, because and that's happening. And it's happening in a way you don't even realize because capitalism is doing what capitalism does.
Say, what do you mean?
These kids don't want to work.
That's true.
You know why they don't want to work?
A lot of people don't want to work.
Yeah, you know why they don't want to work? It isn't worth it.
Well, what's the alternative, son?
Well, I mean, what's the point of going to work if you can't make no money while you're there? Enough to survive anyway.
Well, how are you going to survive if you don't make a little bit of money? That's always been my question.
Well, you hold on out. You're waiting until something comes along that's worth it.
So in the meantime, you're living in your parents' basement? Like,
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Whatever you do.
Or you're homeless?
I mean, you got to remember in the 60s and 70s, they used to say they didn't want to work either. Well, wages went up. People got enough money where they finally went to work.
Or they got hungry enough and they finally went to work.
Maybe. I think the wages were there, though. I think the wages need to come up. The wages haven't compared to anything that's out there.
How well do you pay your employees?
I pay them pretty shitty. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I pay them as good as anyone else.
Let the record show.
Let the record show.
I am right beneath average.
No, I mean, well, okay, so I'm a small bar and restaurant.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Don't give me no excuses, pal. You just said...
I am paying cooks $15 an hour. I'm not paying them minimum wage.
Is that like industry standard?
I don't know what the industry standard is.
Well, you're supposed to know, buddy.
Minimum wage is minimum wage.
What's minimum wage?
It's 10.
Really?
Yeah, 10 something. So
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we're at 15. I mean, is where they start at here. Now, that's not summer. Summer don't make 15. Summer makes more.
Okay.
Quite a bit more. But if they show up for work on time all week on all their shifts and on time, they get $1 more. So they're 16 really. So really, they're 16 an hour if you come to work and do your shifts.
So you mean you check every week? At the end of the week, did you show up every day? If you did,
I actually went and got a time clock just so I could do that.
No way.
Yeah, so I have a time clock just so they'd have to clock in. Most of that had to do with them just coming in late. Like the coming in late is stressful when I was cooking.
I bet.
When I started cooking and I'm running the kitchen and I'm cooking and I'm waiting for somebody to come in and they just show up a half hour late. That half hour, is he even showing up? Am I working all night now? Like it was stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can't imagine these other girls, and cooks having to deal with that. So, I mean, that was why I did it because they do it at my mom's
That's
work.
a big thing for me too, like consistency. Like if I see somebody that's consistent, like that's a very appealing. Like I want that person. Like I'll pay that person. Like I want that person around me as much as possible.
I mean, I'd be consistently late.
No. I mean, consistent in like the good stuff, not the bad stuff.
Well, see, now it just depends on how you look at it.
John Maxwell has this saying. He says your work has to stack up before it shows up.
When I was a carpenter working, even when I was an apprentice, I was Mr. 5 minutes late.
You were 5 minutes late?
All the time. Always.
Why?
Well, what happens is that you go. There's guys that like to go to work early,
Yes.
and they'll do it, and that's.
in
the trades. You got to remember our drives to work are a half hour to an hour.
I remember.
Usually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're driving a half hour to hour to work. So you leave on time.
Yeah.
If you get stuck in traffic or whatever, or something slows you down, whatever it does. Well, that's not on me. I don't care. I'm not leaving my house. You don't get more time than that. I don't care. You know what I mean? That's just how I am. That's the way I'm built.
So you're not giving the man
I'm not
going to
go sit. I'm not going to go sit for a half hour, an hour, and read a paper and drink coffee and hang out with everybody before work. I'm just not doing that. It's just not happening. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm
not that guy. I'm not ever going to do it.
Well, it depends. It depends what I'm doing. Like, it depends what we're building.
But
it depends what my position is in the company that we're building.
And my argument always was at the end of the day, I'm doing 3 times more than anybody else that's here on time, so fuck them. That was always my argument.
You're like I will work you under the table. It doesn't matter.
That's right. I will show up 5 minutes late And I will in 4 hours do what you did all day.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That was the problem. That was always the problem in the trades when I was working in it. Was like most guys were there to put in the time, not do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they were there to work the clock, not to work the job. And that's when I got out, because I'm like, no, man, if you're not going to promote me based on my ability to perform for you, and then you're not going to reward that, I'm out. I can't work for people that are just here because they're dinosaurs. They put in more time than me, and therefore they're making more money than me. Dude, you can't. No, I can't do that.
I'm okay with putting in my time that way. I just am not going to deal with crap. Like,
I'm not.
I'll give you an
Never.
example. The owner's son, Kevin, he was late all the time. And it would annoy me. He'd be like 15, 20 minutes late. And he's the owner's son. You know what I mean? He's running a job. We're building
he's
a
not
Target
running
store.
a job if he's late, period.
And he was running a job.
He might have said stuff, but he wasn't running it. Who was running it? Tell me who was running it.
No, he was running it.
He wasn't running it.
Kevin run it. Kevin knows his shit. That's a bad dude. I'll give Kevin
Okay, well then
I'll give
he
his
was.
props that way. I'll give him his props that way. But I say something smart ass to him about him not showing up for work. When I'm an apprentice, I'm a cocky kid. You know what I mean? And
because you could sling a nail, right?
Right. Well, screws. We never use nails. I was a metal stud guy. So anyways, I say something. Well, boy did I learn a lesson at 20 years old that I'll never forget.
Really? Interesting. Let's hear the lesson.
This man's wife was carjacked.
Oh, the one time,
and the car was wrecked, and she was decapitated.
You said something?
I didn't know this. He's late because he was taking his kids to school.
Oh, every day he was late because he was taking. Oh,
I didn't know, dude.
Yeah, he should have said something.
Felt about that big. He's not that guy, dude. He's a man.
You still got to say something like, man, look, I take my kids to work, guys.
He ain't gonna say
I take
nothing.
my kids to school.
If you don't know, don't question me. He's a man. That's how
I'm gonna question you. If you tell me to be at work and then you're not there, and you're the one that's supposed to be in charge of me being there, no, I'm gonna say something, and you're gonna have to tell me.
But I'm just a dumb kid apprentice, 20 years old. I don't know shit.
Well, maybe the rest of the guys knew. They would just set you up for that, man.
So
you should have talked to your other fellas, man. They should have told you.
So what happens is I feel bad about it. I didn't say nothing to him. Granted, I said something to another guy. You know what I mean? And that they were the ones who squared me up, and I felt like shit that I even mentioned it. So I never did say nothing to him.
Okay, all right.
But at any rate, he was the first guy I worked with, outside of Jimmy Dean. I think I worked with him like 3 days after I got into the union. And he was the first guy I worked with. And he's smart. He knows his shit. He's sharp. I give him his props 100%. He's one of the better carpenters I've ever met. He's had trouble getting his life together for the most part. But, I mean, now he's got a house and stuff. He's doing good. But smart. I mean, he knows his shit. He's sharp as a tack. But he has an attitude issue for sure. He doesn't he doesn't get enough respect for what he does and stuff like that. But whatever, that's fine. But one day I come in, and this is after his kids, and he's showing up for work on time. And I show up, and
if you want respect, you got to kill a lion. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I show up. We're building a Walgreens, and it's like out in Cleveland Heights or something. I'm about 5 minutes late. I pull up, and he says, "If you can't show up for work on time, don't show up at all." Right?
Okay.
Pulls that smart ass move.
Boy.
So I had my tool belt on my shoulder. I was getting ready to come in.
You just turn around, walk away.
I just put it in the truck and left, right? I'm like, fuck this guy. So I go home, and I'm like freaking out. Like, what am I going to do? I'm probably fired. I got to go look for a job. You know what I mean? But it's all right. I will if I have to. That's what I'll do. But I get a call from the owner, his dad, and he goes, "What the hell happened over there?" I go, "Kevin said if you don't show up for work, then don't show up at all." So I left. Kevin goes,
"You told me to leave."
Or Chris goes, "Well, why didn't you call me? I'd have sent you somewhere else." I said, I took the kids to the zoo, which I never did. I just made it up,
Yeah.
I go, I figured I'd take the kids to the zoo. What the hell? And Chris goes, "You guys get on my nerves. I don't know why you got to fight all the time, this and that, blah, blah, blah." So long story short, I didn't get fired. I got sent to another job the next day. And I ended up, I was at that time was like, I was like a second year apprentice. I was already running work by then and doing pretty good sized jobs. Well, then the next time I have to work with Kevin, you know, I got an attitude. I'm going to show up 10 minutes early, you know, and I show up 10 minutes early. Here's Kevin right behind me, right? Literally a minute later.
What'd you say?
I didn't say nothing. Nothing was said. Nothing was said, right? So he shows up right behind me. So I beat him. I was there 10 minutes early, you know. So then the next day, I'm 15 minutes because he's going to show up earlier. I know it, right? By the time it's over, I'm showing up an hour early for work. And he's right behind me every time. He never beats me ever, right? And he gets out of the car and goes, dude, we're not going to keep doing this, okay? So the next day we both show up late.
5 minutes late. Nah, man.
Oh, it was great. But yeah, I mean, I love Kevin to death. Mm-hmm. We still have problems. We'll still get on the job together. In fact, we just did one this summer out at Cleveland Central Catholic. We put an addition on. We were out there working together out there and love the guy to death, but we will still get nippy at each other still.
Really?
We still to this day, there's something about us. I think we're just both alphas and that's just the way it goes.
Like there's no, who runs the job? Like who, don't you know? I mean, there's somebody's running the job, right? Like I always say this, like somebody's leading. Well, it may not be the guy that everybody says is leading, but somebody's leading.
No, Kevin's running a job if he's there. It's Kevin's show. For one, I've never went to a job with Kevin where Kevin wasn't the one that's permanently there. Oh, if he showed up on my job that I was always there, then I'd be running it.
Yeah.
But if you're talking, you know what I mean, as far as this is driving me nuts, this dog.
What's the matter?
Is somebody out there? Hello?
Somebody come in. Somebody come in.
I don't know what they're doing out there. But anyways, if I'm there, if it's my job, it's my job. Typically, we wouldn't be on a job together. I'd run a job, he'd run a job. That would be the way it is. But when it's slow, like I just told you, construction's slow right now. You would end up putting like me and Kevin together at the same time, you know. And I was just there filling in to help him out anyways. I wasn't even. He works for the actual company that's doing the work. I was just giving him filler guys to help him out because we were slow.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear, like that kind of stuff. You know, like from guys who run things. You know, like how do you hire people? How do you fire people? I'm
really good at hiring. I think I've always been, as far as like staff, like. I do okay here. I don't do as good here. But in construction, like when I hired my crew, my crew I had when I was young, my first company, I had a hell of a crew. All those guys are still doing it. They're all, I mean, that was a hell of a crew. But I mean, you look at the guys that are out there, they're all running work now. All of them. You know what I mean? On their own, or should be.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
You know what I mean? They were just a good group of like, it was just a good
group. The people you hire have the ability to go and replicate, then you know that you hired the right guy and you gave him something.
Sure.
You know, that was of value.
Yeah, they're all doing the same stuff still.
Yeah. And I don't get mad at people when they leave me. That's one of the things I don't when I hire a leader and then that leader leaves me, I don't get mad. It's a compliment to me that you left, especially if you're doing it well when you leave me.
Yeah.
Like so when I see somebody, because you want to hold on to the good ones, you know what I mean? You're like, I don't want that person to leave, you know, like. So you're like, I want you to stay. And then when they leave, you're often judged for like, oh, man, your best guy left you. You must be doing something wrong. But that's not how I look at it. You know, I'm like, no, it was time.
It's a journeyman. Outgrew. That's why it's called a journeyman.
He outgrew.
Yeah, that's why it's called a journeyman.
He became better. Yeah. So I feel accomplished. I feel a little bit, to me, that's success. You know, when I see people succeed, and it's like, oh, I contributed to your success, so therefore some of it's mine. So I take my flowers.
But I'm one of those guys that I'm going to show you respect. If Kevin, Kevin or Jimmy Dean,
that's part of being a good leader, right? I mean,
Kevin and Jimmy Dean are both two people that I learned from. They taught me.
Yeah.
So for me to walk onto a job and try and take over their show, I would never do that. That's just out of respect.
Well, you say your guy felt like he didn't get enough respect or something. I heard a story one time about that. You know, this guy's like, I want I want to be at the table with all with all these big guys. I want to be at the table. And then one guy said, well, you got to go kill a lion. And he's like, what? So you go kill a lion and bring it back here because you're sitting at a table with people who have killed lions. So don't come in here and tell me about how you know how to kill a lion. Come back here once you kill a lion, lay it on the table, and then you'll earn your spot of respect at the table, And a lot of guys today, they don't want to go kill the lion. They just want a spot at the table that says, I know how to kill a lion. Well, go kill one and bring it back, and we'll have a conversation about whether or not you can kill a lion.
Makes
Stop
sense.
telling me you know how to do these things and go do it. John Maxwell says your work has to stack up before it has to stack up before it shows up. I mean, you can't just do it one time. Let me see you do it over and over and over and over again. And then there's this really good book I read. It's called The Compound Effect. And most people think that success happens like, oh man, you got lucky. You got lucky. But success is daily increments of investment that stack up over time. And before you know it, after a while, they stack up to the point to where one day...
I just had this conversation with Keith.
One day it takes off. And you're like, wow, man, you really built something. Wow, it must be, you got lucky.
Yeah, Keith, Keith said that's what annoys him the most. That was his big thing, is like when someone says he's lucky. But...
because you walk into a certain set of circumstances or scenarios, but you don't know the challenges that came with that.
There's lots of challenges that come with everything, but you still need a little luck. And that's what he was getting offended at me saying it. But it's true. You need a little luck regardless.
Yeah,
no matter what you do, I do too, actually. I don't even call it luck. I say it's what did I say? What's the word I was using with him? It's not probably what you were going to say.
Yeah, well, I'm going to call it blessed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call it blessing.
Yeah.
Favor. I'm going to say, man, God's hands on me to do what I do. And you shouldn't try to compete with me. If you try to compete with me, you lose. You can't.
Fortunate. That's what
fortunate.
I say.
Yeah, fortunate is a good word.
Fortunate is the word I like. And not as much as luck. You can still be fortunate.
Yes, luck
it takes a little bit of being fortunate to be successful, regardless.
It's funny how fortunate
how smart
you become.
And intelligent.
It's funny how fortune finds you inconsistent, like showing up. Fortune will find you.
I'm not saying when I say you got to get lucky, but what I'm saying is there are people out there that have put it all in, and have ended up with nothing in the end. It happens. It happens. Many times it's happened. And
it happens to everyone, though. It happened to you.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody. Everybody fails. Everybody misses.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes. But that doesn't mean that they weren't working hard and smart.
No. I don't think that. But, no, not always. But yeah.
Not always. But sometimes, yes. I mean, yes, 100%. But a lot of times that's not what it means.
Yeah.
But that's where, like Keith can't grasp that. You know what I'm saying?
Michael Jordan said, I never lost. I just ran out of time. Isn't that good?
That's true.
That's why he's the greatest.
Yeah,
I never lost. I ran out of time. And that's the truth. He just keeps shooting, Jack. He just keeps shooting, no matter what it looks like.
Yeah, he's Michael Jordan is. I mean, you remember when we were kids, man. Yeah. When we were kids, that's when he started. He hadn't even won a championship yet, but he was still amazing.
I felt like LeBron was gonna take over, and then his.
I just remember watching LeBron, and I'm a LeBron fan to this day. I love LeBron. I think he's. Yeah. I mean, I don't like his politics, but I mean.
Well, I think his politics affected his game.
But his skill level is phenomenal. But
he's not the greatest.
His heart isn't there.
No, not like
that. I used to watch him, and I watched him in the Cavs, whatever. Mm-hmm. His heart just isn't there. He doesn't have that championship heart that Michael Jordan had. He does not have it. That Larry Bird had. Yeah. And Magic Johnson didn't either. None of those guys. That Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, the only two I've ever seen with that kind of heart. Isaiah had heart, but he was just. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just hate Isaiah Thomas.
Don't let your feelings get in the way. That dude was mean, man. Isaiah was tough.
Did I ever tell you that I met Joe Dumars?
Huh.
Yeah, Alexa. We went to the game and Joe Dumars was there.
Oh, yeah.
We were sitting. I used to get tickets all the time, like right behind a visitor's bench.
I mean, we would hate those guys, but man.
And this was back with when Rashid and Ben and Rip Hamilton and all them are playing in against LeBron. And we're like fourth row right behind the bench. And Joe Dumars is sitting three seats down from me, you know. And Alexa's got her basketball. I go have him sign it. It wasn't a Cavs basketball. So she goes over to have him sign it. She's a little girl, just a little girl at this time. And this is like pre-LeBron, like leaving or any of this stuff. So, I mean, she was real little. And she goes over there and asks him to sign it. The game's going on, you know. And his seat next to him's empty. He grabs her by her shirt and just drops her in the seat. As soon as there was a break in play, he signs it, says thank you, and goes about his business. But
Wow.
Alexa, when he grabbed her by her shirt, she sat there, her eyes wide open.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Like,
yeah.
She's a big dude, man.
I mean,
She's just a little girl.
Yeah.
I mean, he was mean anyways. He was a mean guy, you know.
He looked scary too. Like,
yeah, oh
he
yeah.
was scary
Yeah,
looking.
it was something else. But yeah, those seats were cool. When I would get those, like,
Where'd you get them?
The Burns Interior Supply that I used to buy from, they would give me tickets anytime I wanted, basically. So we would sit in those seats a lot.
Dude, Marlon has season tickets when LeBron won the championship.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
we went to the games and everything. Of course, when we got to the playoffs, I don't know what he did. I don't know how that played out, but yeah, we were going to the games like crazy back then.
I was down there for, what was it, Game 6. I was working nights. And I showed up for work, and I just went, nah. I just went drinking, and then I went to like that little party they were having outside. Remember they had the Jumbotron and all that up? And I was like, I'm not going to work tonight. That ain't happening. This is a once in a lifetime. Are you kidding me?
Did you go down for the that big
No,
thing?
for the parade.
Dude.
Did you?
I did. Biggest mistake of my life.
Were you climbing on poles and stuff?
Oh, my gosh. We stayed out there. We were so thirsty. The sun was baking you. And then eventually, like, it never, like, you were waiting for them to come by. We just left. We walked out of Cleveland. Literally, I had to walk across the bridge into Lakewood, caught an Uber out of Lakewood, and then went home. It was just like...
Yeah, I wasn't going down for that mess. I was working anyways. I think I had to work, or I think I had stuff going on. I didn't have a choice.
It was nuts.
It was insane.
It was bonkers.
It was nuts. Yeah, it was crazy.
That was insane, man.
But yeah, I think I had to work. I don't think I got the break for that. But yeah, that was one of the coolest things, I think, as far as like being downtown Cleveland. That was one. And if we would have won against the Cubs, that would have been better. But
Yeah.
I was down there for that too.
Yeah.
I was just like hanging out, like at an outdoor bar, sitting there eating and watching a game. You were literally hearing the bat before you were watching it on TV.
Right,
But I wasn't in the actual game.
You need to. They need to get rid of the Cleveland Browns, man.
Shut up.
Get it.
Take it back.
What's
the matter with you?
I'm just saying, man. This town does not need that kind of heartbreak. It's enough. Like, we don't need it. Just look, man. If somebody's not going to buy the Browns and do right, like, just let them go. Just let them go to Nebraska or something. Give them away.
You just need
Come on, man.
You just need one good manager.
Talk about systemic brokenness.
It's because they just keep the management teams are like
they are broke from the front office to the
no
linemen, dude.
No.
They are not.
No.
How do you explain the culture of loss? They just know how to
front
lose.
office, period.
Just a front office. You don't think it has anything to do
It's a
with the
trickle-down
coaching?
effect.
Well, then,
I mean, how Pittsburgh Steelers, their front office has stayed the same?
right.
And
they just make winners. They can have. You can give them a high school football team, and they will win. They will take you to the playoffs.
Yep.
But the Browns.
What do you think would have happened to Ben Roethlisberger if he was in Cleveland?
Oh my gosh, he would have folded and.
It'd have been a Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Isn't that funny how everyone leaves the Browns and they go away and they're like throwing up records, man.
Except Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell. I mean, he's still playing, isn't he?
I think they just cut him.
Oh yeah, poor guy.
I think I heard
that's because he's hanging out with Diddy. You know what I mean? right. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm sorry. I don't know.
What do you think of this Luigi guy?
Luigi. I think that he is. I think that's a real crazy
Hero or horrible?
I mean, he's not a hero, but he is an expression of culture. He's an expression.
If everything gets fixed, is he a hero then?
What do you mean if everything gets fixed?
If next year,
like they fix the healthcare industry
if next
and the
year we're
insurance
paying
industry?
half for our premiums and they're covering everything, is he a hero then?
No, he's still not a hero. I mean,
are you sure?
Listen, I'm not going to.
Are you sure?
He's not a hero.
Are you sure?
I think what I think is outrageous is the idea that nobody is in touch with that sentiment. That mainstream media and everybody out here is just ignoring the idea that the middle American guy is struggling, and we're so outraged, we're so oppressed by it that like they would. That's the extreme. That's the extreme that this guy says that he tried to get health care. He tried to get coverage. You kept denying him. Like I said, my kid had a degenerative eye disease.
I don't think that's true with him, though.
Didn't he say? Isn't that? Well, the story has holes, and I don't believe that.
He's filthy rich, Dick.
Right. I don't believe that has anything to do with this. I think he's set up, and I think that he was getting ready. I think that healthcare worker guy was getting ready to roll over on some people. I think
something happened because you know what? He's a small guy. He's a small business guy or small. How do you call it? He's a.
He wasn't a small. He was. He worked. So
I'm going to take a break so I could pee.
Yeah. So they painted this guy as if he was. Go ahead, man. I got it. I'm gonna sit here and talk to nobody. Talk to everybody. They painted this guy as like this. He's just this guy who raised himself. Pulled himself up by his bootstraps and then he earned his way, but that's not how most of America sees it. Most of America sees it through the lens of their skyrocketing health care costs, the insurance premiums that they have, and then they're forced legally. We are forced legally to pay for these things. So I think most of America, if you're out there, I think that what you're feeling, and that's why you're not very outraged by the fact that this guy who now the narrative suggests that he had enough and he just wanted to take out his outrage on a CEO. I think that fits the narrative because of the extreme oppression that's happening in America. So I think that's what most people resonate with, and most of society misses. Most of mainstream media miss it. They miss the idea that most of Americans are feeling marginalized by what's happened in society. Like we don't feel like our representatives are taking notice of the extortion. This is extortion, dude. Like medical industry is extortion, and for the most part.
So do you think he actually is the guy that did it?
I don't think he is the actual.
You don't think he's the actual guy?
I think he did it, but I think he was hired to do it. I think this is way more nefarious. It's just they're just covering up.
How do you
their
hire a guy with that
it.
much money to do it?
I don't know. I mean, but it's way too convenient.
If money
bro.
was driving you,
the whole thing is way too convenient. I mean, it's just way too convenient. The way it all got solved so easily, and the way he was already in possession of the manifesto, his firearm, the bag, all the evidence was conveniently placed in it. Like it just, a lot of it just didn't make any sense to me. Like
that's why
really,
I'm asking.
Dude? Like,
did you
really,
think
dude?
It was the actual
You're gonna
guy?
Carry the bag with you with the evidence? Like you're gonna you don't know enough to
I
fall
thought
off
that
the map.
too, but I think that they said they went back to his apartment and the stuff was there. Okay. I don't think it was actually on him in McDonald's.
Why would you put it in your apartment?
I know,
there you go. What I mean, like
I don't know.
I'm not taking the evidence home with me. I'm not saying I'm that guy or that, But if I'm going to commit a crime on that level, and I'm semi-educated, you don't even have to be that smart.
And he was super smart.
And he's supposed to be kind of genius.
Valedictorian and all that, yeah.
Like he's not going to do these things. It doesn't make any sense why he would do that. And from what I understand, this CEO guy was supposed to roll over on some very powerful people in Washington, and he was gonna rat him out for some of the stuff that they were doing. And before he could do that, guess what? Lo and behold, he's walking out of a conference and he gets shot in the back. And this guy makes it all the way to Tahulahoo, Pennsylvania, or wherever it was, and he's sitting at a McDonald's. Come on, really? I was born in the dark, bro, but it wasn't last night. I mean, the way the government plays. I mean, okay. We got really stuff flying around in the sky, and our government doesn't know what it is.
What do you think that is?
Come on, man. That's our government.
I know it's our government, but what do you think they're looking for?
I have no idea.
It's got to be a dirty bomb.
But it's something bad.
It's got to be a dirty bomb.
It's something bad, right? They're going through all these areas.
Right?
It's not good. I can tell you that.
It's got to be a dirty bomb.
And what would prevent them from not shoot? Why wouldn't they shoot them down? And why would they?
They're ours.
There you go. And why would you wait until the middle of the night to run them all?
I don't know that that's true.
Well, you don't see them flying around in the middle of the day.
Well, because I don't think you see them in the day.
What? Yeah, of course you would.
I don't think they stick out like they do when they've got lights flashing.
They're not even that high in the air, and there's some of. I mean,
I don't know because I can't tell what's real and what's not on the
exactly.
I don't know which ones are real or not.
And don't you think that's the point? Isn't that the point? Let's create enough confusion here to where they don't know if we're coming or going. They don't know what's going. They don't know if they're from Iran. We don't know if they're from.
I think they're looking for a dude. I think that there is I believe 100%. That they think there's a dirty bomb in the United States, and they're trying to find it. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I think these two stories, we need to really hone in on them. And as Americans, we need to stop allowing our government to do such ridiculous things.
Well, if that's what they're doing, what I think, that's not ridiculous. Do what you do.
No, you have to if you're gonna fly drones around in the middle of the sky, then you're gonna have to be transparent about it because you got my relatives. We live here. We live here. You know enough to get your family out before it's too late. But we live here. Say something to us so we can get out of these places.
Yeah, but where are you going to get out of? They've got them flying everywhere. They're flying over Lorraine. They're flying over Cleveland. They're flying over Columbus, Toledo.
Right.
They're flying over Pittsburgh. They're flying
tell
New
us
Jersey,
what's going on so we can help you
South
solve
Carolina.
the problem. Or stop being corrupt. Stop being so duplicitous.
If it's not corrupt.
It is corrupt. We know it's corrupt.
I don't disagree. But if it wasn't, you have no issue with them just flying the drones looking for it.
No. You just got to let me know. You got to let me know. You got to let me know if at the mouth of the Black River.
If you can't give an answer, you can't give them. You can't.
You can say we suspect. That
no. Not if you don't know where they're at. Not if you have no clue anywhere in the U.S.
Then at least lie to me nicely, okay? Give me a percentage of truth.
You ever watch Criminal Minds? I'm sure you did.
A little bit. I think I watched it for like a season. I think
there's an episode on there where they get anthrax poisoning at a restaurant from a restaurant or a bank or something. It was a restaurant or a bank. It was a bank, I think, but part of it was at a restaurant, and the whole time the news is saying that there's poisoning from a local restaurant. Mm-hmm. The whole time he's going, say the restaurant, the FBI agent. He's going, please say the restaurant, and they never do. And all of a sudden, all the phones go off. They're what the hell's going on? It's 911. Everybody's calling 911. They don't know. So it's mass panic if you can't give a detail and say. Because the worst thing you can do is tell everybody in the world that somewhere there's a dirty bomb. Then the whole country is panicking.
Okay, then why?
If you don't have an answer,
then you could say we're using these drones to survey potential terrorist attacks, or we're surveying for your safety. But don't tell me that you don't know what they are.
I mean, you don't know. Trump yesterday, you seen what Trump said yesterday, right?
I didn't see it, no.
Trump did an hour question and answer yesterday. Uh-huh. And he answered every question they asked, too. It was great. You know what? It was,
wow.
It was, wow. It was breathtaking, actually.
Wow, good for you.
It was somebody sitting there answering the questions, even the tough questions, and just answering them flat out. And you know what? they weren't asking questions where he had to come back and say you're fake news or anything. He was just answering them. But one of the question was, what about these drones? He goes, they know what the hell it is. He goes, it's our guy. They know. They're why they're not telling you, I don't know that, but they know. They know where it came from. They know what garage it was in. They know.
Right.
Trust me.
Right.
And so why? I mean, he was flat out about it. He goes, I mean, but he can't tell you what he knows. If he even, I don't know if he knows now. I would assume that he's probably getting updates now,
He's
right?
got to know something. He's getting ready to take office. So
I don't know. Does he get updates already or no? I don't know. I don't know how that change of power works.
You would think, it feels like he's the president regardless. So just let the dude take office.
Like Canada's like getting rid of freaking.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, that's like. And did you see his conference this morning that he said? He said that he was a feminist and pro-woman and blah, 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 and this and that. And, America just proved how much they hate women by not voting a woman in again.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Trudeau said that?
Trudeau's about to go. He's down. Yeah. I think that they're talking
Canada.
about resignation letters already. And
I did see something like that. Briefly.
I love how Trump was just dogging him. They'll just like
trolling him, man. He's just trolling him. That's brutal, man. You get trolled like that, man. Oh, especially on the world stage, you're getting trolled, man.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if
we just, as Americans, we got to stop tolerating the trash.
But Canada is, I mean, they're just our bitch, regardless. Always. I don't care who's in charge of them. They don't have a military. They use us as their military. We're their privacy fence. We're their security gate.
I see they're threatening us a little bit, with
not cutting off our fuel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's going to get solved day one. They're going to open up all of these.
They're not going to freaking. They're already provinces have already said, "Yep, we're not doing."
So for that reason, don't you feel like the economy's just going to, like the doors of the economy? I feel like are just about to break wide open because he's going to do all of these. He's just going to reverse a bunch of stuff.
He is reversing a bunch of stuff, but it takes time. You got it, and it takes.
I mean, interest rates are going to drop.
And he's already in process. I mean, yesterday he met with somebody who's going to invest like $100 billion in the AI technology in the U.S. from Japan.
Yeah,
and they're supposedly bringing 100,000 jobs with them and stuff. But again, that's wonderful. But how long does that take? $100 billion takes a while to spend when you're building something. You know what I mean? And you're not running for office. I mean, if you're running for office, you could probably spend $100 billion in a week.
Man, you just feel like that kind of cash would have an immediate impact on the economy.
Well, but
just opening up the drilling, just turn it back on. Don't you feel like
the drilling, but the pipeline? It's going to take them a while to get the pipeline back up and running if they start going. I know we used to get a lot of people in here that were staying in a hotel. We're working on a pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pipeline was coming through here. They were staying in a hotel and they were coming in a restaurant.
Where's the pipeline going?
I'm not sure.
I sound dumb, but what pipeline and where was it headed?
What pipeline?
Yeah, pipeline?
What was that? The northern, I forget what it was called.
It's around here?
It's all across the country, yeah.
I know that back.
I think it was coming from. I think it's coming from Canada. To be honest with you.
No way.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, I mean,
this pipeline was. I mean, it was a big deal. But people you don't remember them protesting the pipeline. They freaking. You don't remember all that the protest and catching the. It was a nightmare.
I don't pay attention to those tree huggers.
Well, they're worried about the pipes leaking underground, which is a fair.
Well, if they leak, go clean them up. Go fix it.
That's the thing. Nowadays, there's equipment that test that area.
You see that
and they don't want to admit that, or they don't want to deal with that. They're going to poison our lakes, but we're not going to poison our lakes.
I feel like you see that new series on.
I have not.
The Landman or something.
Landman, I haven't, but I want to really bad.
It seems interesting,
It does look good.
They're kind of tackling that. I feel like the Hollywood is nothing more than a forecast of where we're headed in our country most times. It's
well, you know that the Pentagon, one of their largest budgets is for Hollywood, right?
Is that right?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
That's a fact. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Why though?
They fund movies like Top Gun. They
Oh my
fund
gosh,
movies
dude.
that put America in a better light. Like that, they.
I did hear this. Okay, now that you're
But the
saying this,
question is, okay, when you're talking militarily and stuff, yeah, that's wonderful. It looks great. What else are they doing?
I mean, it's propaganda, man. They're
It's
feeding you a
propaganda,
narrative,
period,
to,
right.
to form an opinion before you get there.
Correct.
Like it's the answers on the horizon
Right.
of the of the issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so not until you get out of the matrix are you able to like be, critically think through the process. And most that's the problem with most Americans is they belong to the matrix. So they're so deeply entrenched in the matrix that they don't even know what's happening. Like I think the education system in America was a part of it, the matrix. I think that.
Oh, for sure it is. There's no question.
Right.
They don't want to teach you to that. My brother-in-law is a perfect example. We've talked about this before. I don't know if me and you did, but I have on the other podcast. But so he was in school in Avon, and at the time it was when I was just topped out as a journeyman. I was making like $25 an hour or something like that. I mean, good money back then. I was only 22 years old or whatever, topped out, making good money, had a house, all that stuff. And Brandon's in school, and his teacher literally tells him something about not studying or something like that. You're going to end up a carpenter. That's what he told him.
No way.
Yeah. And Brandon goes, my brother-in-law makes more money than you do, and he's a carpenter.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, but that's what they're teaching the kids, and that they're not teaching them that they put it as non-value. There's no value to that. And then what I seen happen was when I had my company originally, I had no problem. I could hire kids that were, younger, 20 to 30 years old all day long, that wanted to work, they wanted this opportunity. It was a good job. Now, you get guys that are 40, 45, nothing else has worked, and now they'll settle for construction. You know what I mean? Like, if I have to, that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Trying to get those young kids, you can't get them to do it.
I always saw the money in it at a young age. Like, I'm like,
we did.
Man, like you can go make money
these
now.
Kids haven't been taught
and I don't
that
even
way.
need to and I can learn some stuff. That's how I always looked at it. Like Manuel's over there working at Popeye's Chicken. I'm like, bro, he's like, you come work with me? No, I'll go sling drywall, or, you know what I mean? I'll clean up
and that's how we were.
I'll learn
but these kids got
brick.
taught different. These kids got taught that that's not the way to do it.
I mean, and they seduced every aspect of society. So they seduced women to go to work. They seduced then women to forfeit the greatest, the most sacred thing a woman could do, and that is raise children. And they seduced them into going into the workforce. Then they seduced them take your children and give them to the government. We didn't call it the government, we called it school systems. But then we put our kids in these school systems, and then they teach us to do what? You got to get ready to go to college, which is another form of subjugation by the system that's set in place, so they can indoctrinate your mind to think in a way that keeps you in the matrix. But it was only I look back on it and I go, man, I was fortunate. I was really fortunate that I was so disagreeable.
Yeah.
So rebellious, so anti, stop talking, that thing that's in young boys that says don't talk to me like that,
Right.
don't tell me what to do,
Right.
kind of thing. Instead of fostering that leadership in young boys, they tried to smash it down and force you in the.
I remember a teacher told my mom that I
crazy.
always like to stand on my soapbox.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you look back now with such clarity and go,
Thank God I did.
thank God I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I went to college for 2 years.
I
to be a
remember because me and my first wife ran into you at Midway Mall, right there by the food court.
Really?
And you were in the nursing school, and I'm like, nursing school, really?
nursing.
But I think you were working for a home improvement company or something. But you were in nursing school or something.
Yeah, I was going to college.
Yeah, and
to
I was
be
like, a nurse? Really? I'm like, he wants to be a nurse?
Not really. I wanted money, Jim.
Sure, and that's a solid.
And I saw
career.
a dude. It was Brandy Giesey's father, Mike Flaherty.
Yeah,
and he was a emergency room nurse, and he was, for me, like, he just felt like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. Like, I'm gonna go do what he did, because he got out. I'm gonna try to get out. And so, and then one of the most defining moments in my life happened when you remember the day they brought you into the guidance counselor's office, and you had to decide, like, I remember it like so vividly. They brought us all one by one. They took us into the guidance counselor's office, Mr. Novak, and they said, okay, here's what you're preparing for. And I just happened to be before Marlon, and I was outside of the office, and I heard his recommendation to Marlon. Marlon, you're getting ready. You're going to college, man. These schools are going to be, looking for you. You should do this. You should do that. So he was mapping out and then Marlon walked out. Troy, come here. I remember sitting down, and he's like, well, Troy, you're...
Same story.
He said, nope. He said...
No, he didn't.
Watch. He said, well, clearly you're not made for college. So you should probably kind of, get yourself ready to go work in the labor field. He said that to me.
Wow.
But you're not, Troy. We can guess that you're not made to be. This was our junior year. And he said, you're probably not, going to be in college. So you should start preparing to enter the labor field. I remember him saying it to me.
Sign up for OWE right now.
He said, basically, that was what he said. So I walked out of the room. I was so disheartened by it. Like, oh, he thought Marlon was great. He was going to go to college, not me. I got to.
That's good, though.
I know, but I didn't see it that way as a kid. As a kid, I felt like, oh, it was a gut punch. Like, I'm not smart enough to go to college. So you know what I did?
Tried to prove him wrong.
Literally, I tried to prove him wrong. From that day forward, I was on the honor roll. So for the rest of my junior year and into my senior year, which is too late by then.
Right.
Your GPA is already set by then. But I guess I was dumb because I didn't really figure it out until then. But
right.
But I was like, oh, I'll show you. I'll get on the honor roll. So I did the honor roll all the way through high school. Then went to LC. I mean, I took some time off. I partied for a little bit. But then I went to LC and entered the nursing program. Well, when I was in college, I'm like, when I got there, I was expecting this to be, because they had told me I'm not made, I'm too dumb. But when I got there, I started doing the classes. I'm like, this is dumb. like it was at that moment that I'm like, these people, like, this is the 13th and 14th grade. I got honors. I got high honor roll there. I can be on an honor roll here. This is dumb. And I literally spent the second year of college in the field house playing basketball. So much so that the psychology teacher, when I went into my Psych 3 class, he was like, look, man, you're going to fail. You got to come to class. He said, if you don't get an A for the last quarter and on your final, I'm giving you an F. You got to get an A. So I got an A. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't that hard. But
well, do you remember we had, when we were in our years, when we were like our senior years, you had, I forget how it worked exactly, but we only had to pass those tests. Do you remember those tests? What aptitude tests, right? Aptitude tests.
I don't know what they were called, but I remember taking.
I think that's what they were, aptitude tests. And that's all. If you pass that, you pass the grade.
Yeah, I just didn't.
I could pass every one of those tests you hand me at any given time from the moment I got to high school.
It didn't
all the way to senior year, pretty much. There's none of them that I couldn't have passed with no studying. They weren't that complicated.
And you look back on it and you go, man.
And that was your grade too, was based on those tests. They don't do that no more, I don't think.
Man, they were really trying to put me in a spot that they had already predetermined for me to walk in.
Yeah, but you know what? That's proving people wrong is what built Michael Jordan, right?
It definitely did. But then there was a part of it where I'm like, I wasted my time trying to prove them wrong. I could have spent those 2-3 years building a business. I could have spent those 2 or 3 years walking in the confidence of what I was called to do. I could have been 10 years in front of myself if I'd have just taken those 3 years and just like, all right, I'm gonna go do what I was called to do. I mean, but I had to discover.
Or you could have just been content going to college because you thought that's what you should have done.
Yeah, but then what is then
What if
been miserable.
What if they didn't make you prove yourself wrong?
I mean, obviously, I believe that I had a purpose and I was going to walk in it, but it definitely gave me confidence. It gave me confidence. Once I went to college, I'm like, this is dumb. Then I left. But the reason I left, it was not because I thought it was dumb. The reason I left is because they told me I was going to have to do my clinicals in a nursing home changing diapers.
You didn't know that right away?
I didn't know that right away. Because I was hanging around with Matt Stevenson and all these guys, and we were cutting it up one night at this place, and he said, yeah, bro, you're getting ready to... You'll be working with me over at this nursing. I'm like, no, I'm not doing. I'm going to the emergency room. That's where I'll be. Blood and guts. I'm not doing diapers. And he said, no, the next 2 years of your life is going to be diapers. And I'm like, bro, I can't do that. Like my gag reflex. You see, the way my gag reflex works is I can't smell or see certain things. If I smell or see certain things, man, it's over. So I quit. And you know what I did? I went to the trades. I went right away, got a job working for an asphalt company out of Oberlin, started operating equipment for them, setting up jobs for them. So I'd be on the setup crew. I'd go out and get the jobs ready for blacktop before they got there. And I made stacks of cash, bro.
Yeah.
For that year and a half, 2 years of my life, man. I had checks in my closet that because I didn't go to a bank at that point. I just had the checks in my closet. And when I wanted clothes, I didn't wash them. I just went and bought some.
Right.
That's how much money I made.
You were living good, huh?
Dude, I made so much money during that point in my life. And then go, man. And then ultimately just to you look back on it and go, man, I could have been 10 years in front of myself if I'd have just made some bigger... If I wouldn't have been brought up in the system that told me I should have done it this way or that way. And...
Well, that's what they're saying now. Like, that's Elon Musk. That's one of his arguments is that we got to stop, putting so much emphasis on education like we are with the higher education. Because that's the problem is education is exactly that. It's an education. It doesn't reflect your intelligence.
It doesn't.
It does
Just because you
not
can
at all.
remember something and you can put it back on a piece of paper later doesn't mean
right.
You have any ability to survive.
Right, and figure things out or whatever it is. Right.
Common sense.
Right.
Like just
right.
That's what I realized, man.
Yeah, you got to get in there and figure things out on your own, solve problems. Like that's survival. That's real survival.
That's what we should be teaching kids in school.
Yeah,
critical
you can't
thinking.
though because
Here's
the problem is you need some robots too.
Well, the robots are the ones that wash out, but we got to find the use. We got to find the Jimmies in this thing.
I think that's how you find them. I think you find them.
No, because they're not being taught to think critically. They're being taught to comply.
Yeah,
they're being taught to comply.
You're doing nurture over nature. I think nature is there. And I think that...
Yeah, but how much time are they wasting being suppressed, being told that you should do it this way, not that way?
Nah, you're learning. That's all learning. First of all, you can't run a business typically at 18 years old. You don't have...
I think that needs to be... I think you just said something that should be repented of. There's no way you should say that. We should be raising kids today to start businesses. We should instead of giving them money... At college campuses, instead of giving them credit cards to go rack up ridiculous bills at a bar, like how about we give them startup money for their own companies, their own businesses? How about we do that? Why don't we encourage
but it
them?
takes some time. You got to learn a little bit. You got to get in there and you got to have something.
How about we implement a mandatory trade training that happens in high school? The last 2 years, you have to learn a trade. You have to. You have to learn at least one trade.
I don't even think you need to do that. I think they need to bring back some of the old ones that they already had. Because they just don't have them no more.
Nope.
Like those are all gone. Like auto bodies gone.
And when we were in high school, you know what how they looked at those classes?
Yeah, that was the retard classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We looked at that and we're like, oh yeah, that one kid's down there.
Yeah. What did we call it? Southview. We called it. Damn it! I wish I could think of what we called that hall, the wing. That had all the auto body.
But really, those dudes,
rejects hall or something.
Those guys can make money right now. They can make money right now. They go walk down the road and be like, "What do you want? You got to pay me this much money. I want $50 an hour to work on cars.
Yeah, they just don't have that stuff no more.
Nope.
Like me and Guido had that. We went to Harrison. That was a cool school. That school was pretty awesome, and they don't.
You didn't know
why
it.
they don't have that anymore. I don't know, but
You didn't know it, but you got put in an incubator of leadership.
yeah, I mean that place was it was different, and all those guys that are in it are all still working construction. They're paying their bills that way, and
They thought they were punishing you, but in actuality, they were teaching.
No, it wasn't punishment. It was never punishment.
No, that wasn't the bad school.
No, that was Charleston.
Oh, okay.
That was Charleston. Yeah. But me and Guido didn't go to Charleston, just I did. Charleston is where I went from Clearview. When they kicked me out of Clearview, and I went to Charleston.
Okay.
Harrison was after I went back to mainstream school. It was an option. It was like a JVS type thing, which we still have JVS. It exists. But that little school like Harrison, that was cool. Like they just took an old school, they put us in there, we redid it. You know what I mean?
And it was just, what did you go there to do?
You went to school. You went to class half the day, and the other half you'd be like,
you learned a trade.
Well, I didn't. I went to work, but Guido's group, they all did construction and stuff like that. You got to remember, as a kid, there was only one thing I knew I wasn't going to be: a carpenter.
You said, I'm not doing that.
Not.
I had no idea what I was doing. Man.
No, I didn't either, but I knew it wasn't going to be a carpenter.
Would have helped me.
I knew I wasn't going to be a carpenter. That much I knew. I knew for sure, if nothing else, I was not going to be a carpenter. But that's what I am. But yeah, I knew for a fact.
Well, you're a business owner, not a carpenter. I mean, you're a business owner. You can do carpentry, but you're a business owner on several levels.
I'm a journeyman carpenter. I mean, that's my trade. And I'm a union journeyman carpenter.
So you can make money, but that is not what you are.
I get it, but that was the one thing I wasn't going to be. But that's exactly what. So when I went to Harrison, my point is I wasn't going into building maintenance class like Guido was. I was there for the OWE version, which is I got out of school early and went to work, at the time.
Because I struggled so much in it, I developed a class that I teach today, and it's called the Decade of Decision. Between the ages of 16 to 26, you make the most important decisions of your life, but you are the dumbest you will ever be.
That's a fact.
Facts, right? Facts. Super facts, right?
Horrible.
You are the dumbest. So in that 10-year window, you're going to decide what you're going to do as a career. So you're going to decide vocation. You're going to decide who you're going to marry. You're going to what? You're going to decide who you're going to marry for the rest of your life in the 10-year window where you are the dumbest you will ever be, and you will develop your morality, your compass will be put in you in that 10-year window. You're basically whether or not you succeed or suck in life will be based on that 10-year window. So I teach a class today called the Decade of Decision. So if you can make good decisions in vocation, mate selection, and morality in this 10-year window, the chances of you succeeding in life increase by crazy statistics. You just if you marry the right person, if you get the right career, and if you make good decisions based on your morality, you will succeed. Then you will spend the next 10 years of your life from 16 to 26, you will build on your life. But if you make the wrong decision in any three of those areas, if you get a DUI, if you marry the wrong broad, right? Or if you go to school for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Right? What are you going to do? You're going to spend the next 10 years doing what? Recovering. You're going to have to recover. Now you got to recover. You went through a divorce. You had to pay off that DUI. You had to now change your career up, go back to school, do this other thing, get better knowledge. Then, now think of what would happen if you or I would have been taught the Decade of Decision at age 16. Somebody would have sat you down and said, look, I'm telling you, you are not smart, Troy. You think you're smart, but you're not smart. You need to stop. Pay attention to who you're going to marry, what you can do for the rest of your life, and the decisions you make.
Do you think that those 16 to 26-year-olds believe you?
I don't know, but I wish somebody would have told me, Troy, and mapped it out for me. Give me the scenario.
I feel like they did. See, we had different. See, that's where
Nobody told me any of that stuff.
I remember, my Uncle Dale, I remember he told me never to get any credit cards. Don't ever get credit cards.
Nobody ever told me that. They never told me about a credit card system. They never told me about credit.
But I thought I can handle it. He don't know what he's talking about, so it doesn't matter that he told me. You know what I mean?
I mean, I know what you mean. Once again, like, you're just not that smart. But if somebody would have told me, hey, Troy, you're not that smart, especially somebody I would have respected.
Yeah, it's got to be. It has to be somebody you believe.
Like, let a John Sally, Ashford, Hoke, Hoagland, Mrs. Hoagland. Actually, I took her out to lunch when I finally discovered my purpose in life. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was made for this. I was made to do what I'm doing right now. And I look back on some of the formation of my life and some of the stuff that laid and resonated deeply in me. It came from her. It came from her. She saw value in me. She put me at the front of her class. She put me in advanced comp. What business does Troy Thompson have? You know what I mean? I look back and I'm like, why was I in advanced comp? I should have been in
OWE?
Yeah, I should have been in the dumber version of whatever that was.
Applied math?
Yeah, I was too dumb to be in there, but she saw value in me. She put it in me. And now I look back and go, man, that was formation that she was doing it. So the decade of decision, I think if we have to teach our kids the value of making positive decisions.
Again, I still think you got nature over nurture. You still got to. Some people are just naturally not going to listen to any of it, even if they hear it. You know what I mean? And some people will. But that's the whole, the argument they have: nature over nurture.
So. I think that your nature can be influenced. I don't think this. I know this. Your nature is definitely influenced by relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Positive relationships.
I'm not saying that they don't
in your
both
life
play. I think they do.
Form your nature and can harness your nature. Like, if you ever had, there's just certain people, I love the Mavericks. I love troubled kids. I see myself whenever I see a kid out here doing dumb stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. Come here, let me help you. Let me try to help you.
But when I was a bad kid, there was those people that would talk to you that I just blew off.
Did you?
Oh God. Yes.
Was there any was there any in your life that you didn't blow off, that you were like,
not till I was an adult.
I like that dude.
I mean, Jimmy Dean, once I became an adult, I would say.
When you say you were an adult, when did you become an adult then?
I was 20 at that point.
Well, 20? 20's better than 26.
It's in the 16 to 26. Right. You're not wrong.
Right, it's in there.
But he was the first person that I looked at as somebody, okay, I get. Yeah.
I'll listen to this guy.
That was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time.
This guy makes sense to me.
Well, yeah, to some degree. And he was kind of doing it, and he was doing it in his own way. He's kind of a rebel anyways, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I kind of was all right with him. But most of the time when someone would approach you and say something, you're just like, yeah, whatever, dude. Get away
what you talking about?
Yeah, or like my Uncle Dale, it's like, yeah, just because that's what you think. You know what I mean? Like, my Uncle Dale used to think I was gay because I comb my hair. It's like, why do you think I was combing my hair, stupid? You know what I mean? Like, how do you...
The fact that he thought you were gay.
Yeah.
Like, don't you know he's the player? Like, did you not check? Did you not check his resume?
I mean, yeah. But that's
James Tucker.
So how do you respect somebody like that? That's the kind of shit that they think,
maybe not him. Maybe not him, but there's got to be.
I love Dale to death. I mean, I follow him everywhere he went.
Right.
He was always working at cars, or he was doing this, or he was... he would tell me things like that, and I would just, I did what I wanted to do and just thought he was wrong.
To some degree.
You know what I mean?
Degree. But these people, there are people that come into your life that have such an influence on you that if they were to give you this information, if they were to guide you positively in these decisions, you could increase, you could be more efficient with your time. You don't have to wait until you're 40 to start building.
My thing was when I got to be in that 20 range or 19 range, somewhere in that range, as I found a new group of friends that I think that might have been part of my problem. When I was younger, my adults that were in my life didn't have their shit together.
Right, okay.
So you didn't listen to a lot of them. Like my Uncle Dale, yeah, he worked at Ford, but he also had a wife that was stealing the money out of his car and driving into his car in front of the house. You know what I mean? He was always in chaos with his relationships. So I really had nobody in my life that was really like had their shit together that was an adult, other than like my grandparents, which I mean, you really like, they're old. Things are different in your mind.
Yeah.
But when I got like 18 or 19, I got like a group of friends that kind of changed me. And I'm glad for it.
I mean, college did that for me. It like at least exposed me to more.
Like they were still having fun like I like to have, but they were keeping their shit together.
Man, I didn't.
Mark Blandon and Seth and all, and Dobe, and I mean they all had their jobs. Mike Indre. I mean all those guys.
At what age did you?
I was like, that was when I worked at Subway when I was like 19.
Oh man, see, you were way ahead of the game, man.
Because they all like had their kind of had their shit together. Like it was weird. Like Indre was valedictorian, but he drank every day.
Yeah, you were.
You know what I mean? They were a different group of people, and I liked them. I enjoyed being around them, and I felt like I could, like they were before them. Everybody knew it was like just destroying their lives. With, I mean, most of the kids I grew up with in South Lorraine, and I mean, most of them went to prison by the time I was like 25. You know what I mean? So I just found myself staying away from them until I met that group of guys. You know what I mean? Once I started hanging out with them through Indre and stuff, then all of a sudden I really had a hard time like after high school. Like, and I heard somebody say this and it made so much sense to me because I was lost for probably 4 years. And I was swimming in just like, I felt depressed. Like, what is this all about? Like, obviously for me, it was like, I was just looking for a sense of meaning. And I felt very nihilistic, like in that season of my life. And I remember just being like, man, none of this it makes any sense. And I couldn't find my people. Like everyone I was around was just like, nah, you're not it. You know, and I heard this saying, like, in high school, you're the main character. Sure.
Your parents make you the main character. Your teachers make you the main character. Your coaches make you the main character, man. Everybody comes and watch you on Friday night. Everybody, you're the main character. And then in college, now all of a sudden, nobody cares about you. You're living on like. Then I'm wandering around like, what now?
See, I didn't go to college, but I always thought that would be the greatest time.
Oh, it wasn't for me. I remember going to like the parties at the universities, and I remember waking up and, oh man, it was horrible. I remember going to Akron University one night with John Webb and Brandy Giese and all of them, and I woke up on John's couch.
Times over there.
Oh my God, they were like shooting out the window at the next dorm. I'm like, bro, these aren't your enemies. Like I went and laid down, man. And I remember waking up next to a pallet of ramen noodles.
Yeah.
And that's what we were eating for breakfast on a hot, I'm like, this is depressing, dude. Like I remember like, I'm going home, man.
It seems right to me.
It seemed terribly depressing.
The thing is, but because I used to go to the parties a lot, to Toledo and Akron, friends of mine.
BG, all that.
Yeah. And I just remember thinking it's kind of the way to go. Because you get to be a kid a little longer.
Yeah. I don't know.
And everybody thinks you're being responsible, and you're really not.
No.
But your parents are like, oh, he's doing good. He's going to college. But you're just like out wilding out, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I didn't like it at all.
I feel like it's good for every kid to do that, though. It's good to go wild out for a minute before you have to go be an actual adult.
I didn't like it at all, man. I was
think
ready
it's
for
a
some
good
substance.
idea.
I think if you're raised and you're like you have a good family and you got a disciplined life, I think maybe that's appealing to you. But by the time I was 18, man, I was done. I was done drinking. I was done.
You know when I regretted? You know when I regretted not going to college more than ever in my life? Was when my brother died.
Oh.
My brother.
Why? Like what did he do?
When my brother died, he went to college. Him and my sister went to Marshall.
Uh-huh.
And he was working for me. He was a journeyman. He had just topped out as a carpenter. He went to visit my sister at Marshall when she was going to college, and he decided he's going to go to college and stopped working and went to college with my sister. And anyways, when he died, we had an event here at the bar for him, and people came from all over the world. I mean, the world for this party. and they were all his fraternity brothers.
Okay.
I mean, these guys still stay in touch to this day.
Yeah.
They're still close. My sister just bought a house in the same development that one of the guys that my brother got brought into the fraternity. Like, they are close, and they have a camaraderie I don't think that you get otherwise.
Marlon talks like that about his guys, like from his frat. You know?
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm like,
amazing.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like,
They're such a great group of guys.
but I do understand, like, tribalism, community. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's looking for a community to belong to. I mean,
That
you
one
know,
is cool.
You could go downstairs, there's a community. You go, you know, everyone was built for community.
But when do you ever live that life outside of your family, except
I
at
live-
college?
Oh, you live it no matter what.
No,
Yeah, you belong to a community somewhere.
I get that, but it's
do.
not the same life.
But I understand
where
what you're saying. Yeah,
where
that's-
you're
that's a different-
sharing the house, sleeping at each other's
That's a
house, eating
different level of
ramens,
community, yeah,
going
but-
out to breakfast together. Like, just, I mean, we do it, yes, but you didn't, like, you weren't staying at my house. You know what I mean?
I think I would have appreciated it more if I wasn't so poor. back
maybe,
then.
maybe.
No, for sure. For me, it was about, like, I need
My
to.
brother and sister were poor.
I'm
and
tired of being
They
poor,
enjoyed it
man.
just fine.
I just hated it, dude. I did not like the loneliness.
But you were in LCC. You weren't away.
But I went to university every week, man. I was either out
but
at
I'm
BG.
saying if you went there and it was like that, you were there. Like
Yeah.
like my brother and sister, that camaraderie they have. I'm telling you, I am jealous.
Yeah.
Of what they had and how great that group. That group is. I mean, it's some of the best guys I've ever met, and they're hilarious.
Yeah.
And I always wondered where my brother-in-law fit in because he seems kind of weird, like odd. You know what I mean? He just seems odd. But he's married to my sister. My sister loves him to death, but he's just so straight-laced. You'd probably love him to death. But he's very, very, like, militarily straight-laced. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah, you would like that for sure. But I never understood where until I seen him with that group. He's just one of them. Like, he gets a couple drinks in him. All of a sudden, he's this different guy.
Yeah.
There's this whole, and I'm going, wow. It was just like, I was jealous of it. I honestly was.
Looking back on my life, I think, like, I look at those years. I was really looking for community, and I almost went to the military. Literally, almost went to the military. To the
They seem too
I think it was
bossy.
the Marine. yeah, they do. But I mean, that's that same camaraderie, that same, you know.
Yeah, you
like,
could get the same
here's your
thing there.
tribe, man. These are your people. You know, I was looking for
considered
that
it
for
only
sure.
because Joe Destro used to tell me that was like, he said that he thinks every young man should do it.
The day I was to sign, I got a Pell Grant to go to college. And so I went to college instead
Just
of
in the nick of time.
Just happened. Just happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I just, when I seen it, and the fact that they still are so close, I guess, is what really did it. Was they're just still so close, and it's
Everybody's looking for community, man. That's what church is. Church is community.
I get it, but
what it is.
but you'll never get that kind of. It's like it's not my college years, but the guys I'm talking about, like
I know
Mark
what you mean.
Blandon and them,
Yeah.
like those are like me and Mark can hang out right now, like and it's like that one will just never change. Like we can cuss each other out, and the next time we see each other, we'll be fine. Like, I mean, it's just. It's different. I didn't go to college with them, but that's the group I was with, and we acted like we were always staying. I stayed at Mark's house with them, and things like that. But I never seen nothing like literally a perfect example. My sister and Zane, who lives down the street from, they go shopping together. You know what I mean? And my brother-in-law doesn't care. That's just what they do. He doesn't want to go shopping. Zane likes to shop. She likes to shop. But Atusha, his wife, they're I don't know if they're Indian, maybe. I don't know what but yeah, I think they are Indian. But Atusha doesn't like to go shopping. But my sister and him like to go shopping, so they go to shopping together. Like, But it's like their brother and sister because they've been, you know what I mean? The relationship is just what it is. Or like when she came down here, he drove her down here, Zane did. And then drove straight back. Dropped her off from South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, and just drove straight back. Just dropped her off and headed straight back. I mean, it's just, they look out for each other still to this day. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And they even got turned on to going to Myrtle Beach by visiting in there, you know, eventually or essentially. But I mean, I that's where I missed it. I wish that I would have got to do it. And I think that everybody should get to do that. Everybody should have that little bit longer to be a kid. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked it. I just didn't. I didn't like my life at the time.
That's because you were uncertain of yourself.
Oh, for sure. For sure, I was.
If you were certain of yourself, you would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like I was looking to grow up so fast. Like, I was like, I've already experienced all this stuff. Just, let's move on. Let's get on with life.
I was in the opposite end of that. I didn't ever think, I was in the opposite of what you are. You were like, what's my purpose?
Oh, always.
Mine was like, yeah, this will be over soon. Like I never.
How did you have hope in that? I wonder about that.
I didn't. I never thought I'd be older than 34.
I mean, I did think that.
I never thought. I never thought I'd
said 32.
Really? Mm-hmm. You thought the same thing?
100%. You can go back and check me on that. I preached sermons on it. Never thought I'd live past 32.
I never thought 34. I thought would never happen.
That's crazy that we said that.
So it didn't matter.
Oh.
Nothing
I always wanted the hope to, like, I just needed hope. And not until I found Jesus that I'm like, oh. And it wasn't, when I walked into that church service that day, nobody even needed to tell me. I knew. Like, I walked in just by happenstance. I just walked in and I'm like, oh my goodness, where has this been my whole life? And I was like, this is it. This is it.
See, that's different because I went to church my whole life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there were times in my life when I went, you know.
I went consistently my whole life.
But my life was a mess at that point. And when I walked in, I felt the presence of the divine. I felt God. And I was like, this is it. I don't know what you guys are making here. I don't know what kind of cookies you're making here, but I want a dozen. You know what I mean? Like, I want a bunch, you know? Yeah. And then, then from there developed, and it was like, oh, that. And now I have a sense of community that is just.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. Man, that is an amazing thing.
Yeah, for me, that's the power of church. Like, when people talk about church, like, that's more important than Sunday. It's that
community
tribalism, like that. Like, this is your community of people, that you do life with, and I spend a lot of my time weeding out the ones that aren't authentic. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, like, I can just sniff them out. You can just sniff out, like, people who are just there to take and not be. In covenant, like, no, I'm down with you forever. I remember when I first walked back in here and I heard you were over here, and I was like, oh, Jimmy's my guy, man. And I don't know why, but that's always been in me. Like Jimmy's my dude. Like, I'm going to hang out with him, right? And they were like, and I remember walking in like, yeah, that's my guy. I was like, yeah, good job, man. I'm happy for you, But like, that's that, just, and you can sniff it out. Yeah. I could sniff it out. I could sniff it out of people, like, when it's not real, like, when it's just like you're here to use and you have an agenda and you're like, I'm a
pretty good judgment usually, but there's certain people that gets me mad. But yeah, usually I'm a pretty good judge of character. Yeah. Typically, but yeah, sometimes it gets me. Every once in a while, somebody will get me, and I'll be mad at myself that I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that happens to me too.
I hate that.
That happens to me too. But I'm just.
But I've always been a pretty good.
But I just tell them, like, look, man, you can do that. I'm not. You can. Just because you are doesn't mean I am. I'm gonna be the realest guy. Like, just because you have an agenda now, like, I'll be your friend forever. If I'm your friend, I'm your friend forever.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what so we got a community of people that And I just tell them that, man, stay at the table. Don't walk away when it gets hard. Don't walk away when you get your feelings hurt. Somebody does something you don't like. You get offended. Like, we disagree. Don't walk away. Just stay. Just stay.
Yeah.
Just stay here. Just stay here, man. Just stay in a friendship. It'll be better. It'll be sweeter. Like, at least then we got something to talk about.
Sure.
If you walk away, you throw away. I'm a good friend. You want me as your friend, right? Like, don't you feel like that? You look at people like, why would you not want me to be your friend? Like you know what I mean? Like I'll help you bury the body. You know what I mean? Like you want me to be your friend. That's how I look at people. And
I'll tell you the truth. I won't help you bury the body. I'll tell you to run. I'll be like, you should run now.
Here's what you need to do with the evidence. Here's what you need to do with the evidence. Troy.
I'll tell you the truth. You know how much it costs to get to Mexico? That's what you should probably do, because I'm calling the cops.
Nah, you wouldn't call the cops. You'd be like, I'm going to turn my back, and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to turn my back, and I'm going to pretend like I got something going on over here. You need to leave. You need to leave. All right, so we need to get rid of these UFOs in the sky, and the economy needs to get better, and you need to come eat all the food over here that's being cooked up.
Yeah, at Madhouse. Madhouse Bar and
For
Grill.
sure.
What we're going to do, I think what we're going to do is we're going to change the menu slightly. Yeah. That's our correction. We're going to slightly change the menu and get rid of specials. But we're going to have those at dailies. We'll have ribs every day. We'll have tacos every day. We'll have meatloaf every day. They'll all just be there every day.
Yeah.
Instead of having them as specials. And we'll try and keep everything consistent and going from there on and see what happens. But that'll allow us to have a nice dinner menu instead of, just you can only get ribs on Thursday now, or steak on Friday.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That makes sense.
So we're just going to have it every day. So there's dinner available every night for anybody that they could. One wants meatloaf, one wants a steak, one wants tacos, one wants fish or whatever, which was how we used to do it. We went away from it and went to the specials at one time. And it's not working right now like it was. So I'm going to try it the other way and see how that works. But again, that was before I had control of the kitchen. Once I got control of the kitchen, I know I can run that food every day without the waste that was going on then. So,
all right. Well,
that's going to be my menu correction. Other than that, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, Trump can get some money in everybody's pocket and then get out to dinner.
I feel like that's going to happen. Yeah,
I do too. I feel like the problem is I feel like we need a jump start.
Yeah, you need something.
And I don't know if he can do a jump start. That's what we need is a jump start.
Yeah,
just a quick jump start and then correct it.
I mean, as far as like the feeling, like I feel hope. Like I can feel the national.
At this point right now,
morale has increased. You feel like
if I never sold another burger and the place closed, I know I'll be all right. I feel okay.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah.
But I don't know that I felt that way last year. Like I just didn't know. I mean, like if it stays like this, that you're probably just better off to collect welfare or something if you really want to survive.
Yeah. And
that's sad, but that's where the country was heading.
It definitely was working its way towards socialism. That's for sure.
Bad. Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely reversed its course, and
I hope so. I hope it stays that way.
There's a spirit of hope in the air. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I forget. What did you say about Luigi? Hero or horrible?
He's not a hero.
He's horrible.
He is a byproduct.
No, he can only be one or the other. Horrible or hero. He can only be one or the other.
Well, that's the game you play. I don't play that game.
He's either the angel or the devil.
He is a residual of what happens.
He's either the angel or the devil.
If
you can't say he's the devil, then he's the angel. That's all I'm saying.
I won't say that he's the devil, and he's not an angel. He's not the devil. He is what happens to a society when tyranny and oppression reach the climax that it has.
But if you have to pick one or the other.
Well, if I have to pick one, I'm going to lean a little bit past right. A little bit past right.
All right, we're out of here.
Y'all be good.
Peace out. Happy holidays if we don't hear from you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.